Would you like to be more connected and informed about your community? If so, it's time to find out who's doing what around town with Moot Point. Moot Point is a local podcast that covers the issues and topics that are relevant to all residents in Albion, Maine. Moot Point is a production of the Moo at moo202.org. And now, here's the host of Moot Point, Brad Taylor.
My guest on today's episode of Moot Point is Lorene Hinckley-Gordon. She handles Title I literacy as well as reading recovery at the Albion Elementary School. And today, we're going to talk about Read Across America Community Readers Day. So, Lorene, I want to thank you for being my guest today on Moot Point. And I got to tell you, I'm very interested to find out what you have to say about the Community Readers Day, which is going to be happening at the school pretty quick here.
Yeah, on March 2nd, we're having our annual Community Readers Day. It's a time when the school opens their doors and says, come on in to the community members and have some fun reading to children. It's a tradition that we've had at our school for many, many years. We invite community members in. Some of them are parents, grandparents. We've had school board members come in. We've had other members from the community join us for this special event. What we do is we divide students up into small groups, 4 or 5 students per group. And the community readers select either the lower level, K through 2 or 3, or the higher end groups, grades 4 through 6, and they get together with their students and have a great afternoon of reading fun.
You label this as Read Across America. Is that some sort of national program?
It is. It is. Every year, the National Education Association does Read Across America, as does the Maine Education Association. And in fact, we've gotten a grant from them for several years. They offer grants, small grants, to schools who are planning activities for Read Across America. Dr. Seuss's birthday is March 2nd, so it all coincides with that. Luckily, we've been able to do our community readers several times during that time period, so it's kind of fun to add that dimension into community readers.
So in order to get this grant, does the school have to abide by certain guidelines that the Read Across America program sets forth? It's
pretty open, actually. They make it pretty open for schools to come up with whatever activities that they want to do, having to do with literacy, having to do with the Dr. Seuss literature, and basically it's a form that I filled out in the past, explaining our Community Readers Day as a piece of that, and they've graciously given us $50 grants. And what we've used that for in the past is to either help classroom teachers with some of their crafts in the classroom, or with our community readers when we have the reception for them in the library. We've used it on snacks and drinks and food for them.
Okay. So let's talk about some literacy. How can you help a person become better at reading?
Well, I work with very young children, so I'm there at the very beginning. We help them learn what reading is all about. We help them look at pictures early on, think about what the story's about, look at words, at the visual information in print. They have to use their letter sounds and their word knowledge, and all of that builds. They need to find success early on with a teacher's support. And then they get better and better at it as they move forward.
What can parents do at home?
Oh, read to your child. Please and thank you. Read, read, read. Even when they're readers, continue to read, because it is not only is it helpful in their own literacy learning, but it is one of the most precious gifts a parent can give to a child. Sitting beside them and enjoying a book and talking about that book and all of the wonderful things that you can learn from a book.
I used to love to read to my kids when they were growing up, and I've been participating in the Community Readers Day. I don't know how many years now. I can't remember when I first started, but I always like to bring in books that I used to read to my own kids that they used to get really excited about.
Yeah.
And I've got some odd books that you never find in a bookshelf anywhere.
Yeah.
Probably they probably were popular for 3 or 4 years and then disappeared. But one of the things I like to do, and this doesn't have to be, I suppose, what everybody else does, is I like to be exceptionally dramatic and theatrical when I read to kids. I just get a kick out of it.
And doesn't that make it fun for them and for you?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I do character voices, and I just get as crazy as I can, and then I ask them questions about things and try to get them participating and see how much mayhem I can create in a short period of time.
And then you give them back to the teachers.
Absolutely. Isn't that, now that I'm a grandfather, I'm really practiced in that. Of course, when my kids were growing up, I would get them all wound up and then I'd put them to bed. But that was my routine.
That works
there.
too, yeah.
Yeah, it does. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about the specifics of this year's Community Readers Day.
Sure.
Do you moo? Currently, the only way to listen to Albion's local radio station, The Moo, is by using the TuneIn radio app. The TuneIn radio app can be downloaded for free from either the App Store or the Play Store on your phone or tablet. Once you have the app, search for The Moo. After it appears, click on the heart emblem to make The Moo one of your favorites. Then, each time you open the app, it will automatically start playing The Moo. Here's one other tip. If the station keeps cutting out, go into the TuneIn radio app settings and make the buffering time longer. By doing that, you'll have a smoother, more enjoyable experience. Remember, The Moo is the only radio station that talks exclusively about life in Albion. So if you'd like to feel more connected to our community, listen to The Moo using the TuneIn radio app.
I'm talking with Lorene Hinckley-Gordon, who works at the Albion Elementary School, and we're talking about this year's Community Readers Day, and we want to get into some specifics about this. The first question I have is, do you have all of the adult readers that you need?
Not yet. We still have slips coming in, so we would be happy to welcome anyone who is interested in this event. All you have to do is call the school and speak with our secretary, Sue Lambert. Our school phone number is 207-437-2616, and they can take your information down at that point, or if you'd like to email me at lhinkley at I'm not going to give you my home one, at msad49.org. You can just email me, and I'd be happy to get back to you.
Okay. We'll make sure we give that information again at the end of the program.
Sure.
Because, so if you're interested and you couldn't write that down and you can't remember it, just make sure you get a pen and be ready for the end of the broadcast. Anyway, in what you had sent me, which made me aware of this, you had a deadline, which is probably going to come up after people start listening to this program. Do you have any kind of a deadline? I mean, I know you want to get everything buttoned up by the end of the week, but that may be not be possible. And then there's going to be the February vacation week.
Exactly.
And so therefore, you've got a couple days of this week from when we're talking right now. Mm-hmm. And probably by the time people start listening to this on the internet, that half a week will be done. So there'll be 2 weeks left. 1 week will be a vacation week, which means that it'll be in another week before people can get through to you.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, we have people canceling the day of, so if we have some extra people, we can make room for you for sure. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate to give us a call, and we'll work you in some manner for sure.
Okay, good. So now, how should a reader prepare to be with the students?
Well, I would suggest to read your books prior to your coming. If you have a book in mind, that's perfect. You can practice it. I mean, just as teachers do. We don't usually do cold reads. I mean, we have to know the book, and that really helps with our, like you were talking about, with your drama and your voices and making that story come alive. So if you know the book, that's perfect. We also offer books there in the library the day of, if you don't have books available to you. There are lots of books that our librarian, Margaret Fortier, puts out in the library for you to look through, read, quickly and decide which one you want, and then you'd be off reading. So I would suggest preparing.
Okay. Now, people should be there at 1:30 in the afternoon.
Correct.
We say that's not the time that you start reading. We want people to get there early enough,
yes,
so that you and the rest of the staff are not in panic mode, wondering if anybody's going to show up.
Exactly.
Okay. So 1:30 is the time, and that's going to be on Friday,
March 2nd.
March 2nd. Okay. So now, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the kids? What do the kids say about Community Readers Day?
We get great feedback. The kids so enjoy having different people, that they don't necessarily know, come in and engage them with books. So we get great feedback. One of our teachers goes around and takes pictures in every nook and cranny in the building where people are reading and enjoying books, and we've had great feedback from the kids.
One year, I think I was doing a second grade group, and the kids were so into the story that they didn't want to wait for me to turn the book around to see the pictures. So the next thing I noticed, they had all crowded in, and I felt like I had 4 kids glued to every side of me so that they could look over my shoulder and see the picture as I was reading. That was just one experience that I had one year, but
fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. And then I've read to older kids, I think maybe 3rd or 4th grade I did a few years ago, and talk about them wanting to share their personal experiences as the story was going on.
Making those connections.
Yeah, it was a puppy story. So
Yeah.
so they had puppy stories.
I'm sure they
share.
sure they did.
What kind of feedback do you get from the adults?
Always very positive. We've had people come back year after year after year, just waiting for the next one to arrive the following year. So we've had really good experience with the adults as well. They've enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I know I've enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and I think it's a great opportunity for people in the community to become active and involved in the life of the school. And I know that from everything I've heard, that people in Albion care very much about the school.
They do.
They love the school.
They absolutely do. It's a big part of this community.
Yeah. So if you'd like to be a part of the school and you've got some time on an early Friday afternoon, it is the Read Across America Community Readers Day, and that's coming up on March 2nd. 1:30. We keep stressing with the 1:30, so that's the time gets locked in people's brains. And what's that number for the school again, in order to call up if they're interested?
207-437-2616.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking with you.
You are
Lorena.
very welcome. Thanks, Brad.
All right. Well, now that you've had a chance to learn a little bit about the Community Readers Day at the Albion Elementary School, maybe you'd like to become a community reader yourself. It's so simple. 30 minutes of reading to a small group, and it happens on Friday, March 2nd, starting time 1:30. If you'd like to do this and like to sign up, just contact Lorene Hinckley-Gordon at the Albion Elementary School. Their number is 437-2616. I'll give you that number again, 437-2616.
You've been listening to Moot Point. Please take a moment to like us on Facebook, and we'll let you know when we have our next community conversation with someone who's doing something interesting here in Albion. Moot Point is a production of the Moo, home of the Albion Community Calendar and the Moo Country Music Stream at moo202.org.